What's up, everybody? My name's Seth, and we are back again for some more Trove Geode June. And today we're going to be taking a look at all of the beautiful, not all of them necessarily, but the beautiful costumes that are going to be coming with the Trove Geode update June 26th. So I'm probably not going to end up making an updated video on all of this stuff because there's not really going to be a reason to. Outside of the crafting components, maybe that'll be enough reason for me to end up making an updated video just to end up showing the resources that you're going to need, because on the test server anyways, you're going to be able to craft these costumes in the maximum tier of the new crystallology profession, right? But as of right now, they're going to be 1 crystal each. I'm fully expecting that on the live server it's going to end up being a lot more expensive. Obviously, these are just going to end up being placeholder prices, which is a little bit daunting considering the fact that so many things already cost so much in this update, that I personally think that the amount of crystals that it costs is, I like that. I like free things. But we got quite a few costumes that are coming with this update, and today we're going to be taking a look at all of them. So this is going to end up being the Chloromancer one, which is a chess-themed character. I don't know. Are we supposed to be the king or the queen? I guess it's still kind of cool, but it's very out of character for Trove to end up adding something like this. Like, it's like, if they're gonna do something like this, you know, they may as well just add like a soccer costume for a class or something. Like, it's just strange to have a chess character, not to mention the fact that when we throw our plant, it's just throwing down a chessboard in itself, you know? Like, it's a very strange costume. It's not my favorite as far as the Chloromancer is concerned, but I know somebody out there is gonna be like, I love chess, it's my favorite, I'm so happy that this costume is actually a thing. Right? But for me, it's not really my favorite. And then there's going to be the Boomeranger costume, which some of you guys might think that this is disgusting because it's only a couple colors. Personally speaking, I really like this costume. I remember seeing it when it was a mod. I do wish that they went the extra mile, though. Like the screen on our character's face, it should be reflective. I think that they could have stood to have like the buttons on the front could have been glowing blocks. They could have had a little bit of transparency on the weapon. Just general like extra details on the mod that I think the modder didn't seem to actually know how to do any of that stuff. And because of it, I feel that the costume is just lacking that little bit of detail that could have made it like really over the top. But that said, I still really enjoy this costume. I feel that it's a really good one for the Boomeranger. Like, I just really like it. And then the chickens and stuff like that, they're all gonna be changed as well. And they're disgusting because they're all one color. And they're also just like, I don't know, it looks like a creature from Mario or something. Our boomerang is, I don't even know what that is that we just threw down. Our urn just explodes into beautifulness. I don't even know what it ended up doing. But either way, it's still cool. I guess we're throwing a popsicle. This weapon is going to end up coming with the style as well. And then the helmet is going to end up being something separate, so you can obviously use those on a bunch of other characters as well. And then, ooh, you guys are you're gonna flip over this one. Back flip. Actually, that's a front flip. Look at this. Look at this. This Neon Ninja costume. I remember when I saw the guy that modded this, he actually came into our Discord advertising the fact that he got this costume into the game. It's one of the most beautiful Neon Ninja costumes out there. Like, I don't know how this guy managed to do it. Like, we don't have any costumes like this in the game that kind of have that more 3D perspective. Like the fact that we got a triangle face going on. And it has a very neat, kind of illusion to it, where it just feels like, I mean, you can just see for yourselves, right? Like what it actually looks like, which one thing that I do find a little bit disappointing, just for my personal preference, I don't like that our character's head is kind of showing through it. I guess we could end up going and changing our character to have like, maybe like a green or a solid pink or some other type of skin color that would end up working with the costume. Because as of right now, it just kind of feels a little bit like, oh, I'm exposed, you know? But the costume itself is really cool. It's got some nice details. You can actually see through your character. And then the sword is going to end up going with it as well. It's going to end up having kind of its own video effects a little bit. They're very tame though. You can see even our dash kind of has a little bit going for it, but not really that much. And then our backdash is going to end up being something pretty as well. The ultimate is just going to end up being very similar to the Daemon costume. I think a lot of the video effects with this are actually similar to the Daemon costume. It's just going to end up being kind of different colors and stuff like that, right? But this is a beautiful costume, like seriously, it really, really is. And then we've also got the Revenant costume. This one, I mean, we kind of knew that this costume was going to be added to the game because the, you know, Trove devs love the fact of having things in theme, but it's not really my favorite as far as a Rev costume. I do like the fact that you can see all of the eyes and stuff like that inside the suit. You know, he actually, the modder guy or girl, I should say, ended up going the extra mile of having those details inside the armor. That eye helmet, by the way, doesn't actually come with this costume. That's something separate. But you have the spear and everything. And if you're into the whole dark green Cthulhu that this game has with all the weird tentacle, you know, cape and everything like that, then sure, go ahead, pick this costume up. I do feel, though, that it's very, very inappropriate for the developers to lazily kind of throw it into the Geode tab, because something like this 100% belongs in the Shadow Towers, very similar to the Shadow Crawler mount, which was thrown into Chaos Chests, and obviously should be in Shadow Towers as well, but I don't know, that's just my 2 cents towards it. And then the Candy Barb costume, this is beautiful. This is probably one of my favorite Candy Barb costumes that's been added to the game, dude. Like, seriously, it's all Radiant themed, and it's so beautiful. The fact that you can end up being this kind of end game fully tiered out minotaur, like it looks so powerful and cool. The attention to detail with the weapons themselves, it looks like a World of Warcraft character, you know. And then just the helmet also kind of being like not only a minotaur head, but also having a nice crown going for it, and just the overall color palette that the character or that the modder, I mean, ended up using with this is spectacular. Like it's very simple in its design as well, which is something that I personally really like when I look at mods, and whenever I used to mod back in the day. You know, kind of one of my strong points, I guess I would say, was the fact that you make it simple, but then you kind of make it a little bit more complex visually just by having a couple different shades and colors and stuff, which, you know, kind of brings us to one of my big criticisms lately, where whenever a developer ends up adding a costume to the game, like you see something like this where we got all these different kind of shades and colors and stuff like that, and then we've got something like, say, oh, well, I'll show you that in a minute. I was going to show you the, you know, that recent Lunar Lancer costume that was added to the store, and although it's really, really cool that we've got kind of that red Lancer costume, personally speaking, like it's all just a couple colors, you know, like there's not really that much detail to it, as opposed to something like this where they go the extra mile. Anyways, that's just my again, my 2 cents towards it. But the Lunar Lancer's got probably the best costume out of the whole bunch. I remember when I saw this being modded, and then as soon as it got accepted into the game, I was like really, really excited about it. This costume alone kind of makes me want to even main the Lunar Lancer. I'm not going to. Maybe I'll swap my Vanguard stuff over to him. I don't know, but it's such a cool costume, dude. Like, cause you guys know, like with Team Pixel and the way that we end up building things and everything like that in my community, like I'm all about like the Oriental style, and the fact that we've got like this kind of, you know, serpent dragon samurai is like so cool and beautiful. Like even the attention to detail is spectacular, where it kind of even looks like there's the dragon's head, and then that goes through the armor to the back, and then you can kind of see like the shoulders aren't really attached. So I think that there might be a little bit of role play going on here. I'm not sure. Where it's like maybe the suit itself is kind of magically contained on the character or something. It just generally, I just really, really like it. The lunacy mode is really, really cool too. Unfortunately, there's no enemies around for us to go and check that out. But our number one is going to end up having nice green video effects as well, which I really, really like. And the ultimate is not really anything spectacular. It's just going to end up being kind of the same old thing, right? But it is still pretty cool that they ended up adding something like that. I guess I can show you guys what the ability ends up looking like if we end up going and fighting some creatures, right? Why not? Man alive, it takes a lot longer to trigger lunacy than I thought it did. Like, how come it's taking so many enemies? You should be able to trigger lunacy a lot more often. I think it would make the character that much more viable for, like, U9 farming and stuff like that. But yikes, dude, hopefully we can get it to trigger on this guy. It is definitely beautiful. There we go. There we go. Look at that. look at that. Like, they went the extra mile of making us like it looks like Super Shredder or something, you know? Like, it's so cool, dude. I love it. It's like a big version of the current costume, but just kind of feels even more powerful and magical, you know? Absolutely awesome. So then last but not least, I honestly completely forgot that this costume was even here, just because it's kind of just standard Tomb Raiser affair. Like, we've already got plenty of costumes like this for the Tomb Raiser that are kind of this whole gold/bronze theme. I mean, it's not like it's a bad costume, don't get me wrong, but the whole steampunk desert theme is not my favorite. Like, just in Trove in general, like when we look at like the Mastery Dread, for example, that's a very prime example where it's like, it's not something I'm into, you know? Like, personally, it's not my favorite. What can I say with all of the weird details that we got on? But some of you Tomb mains out there, maybe you'll be into it. Does anybody even still main the Tomb Raiser? I don't know. But at least it's got the extra detail of having your little allies, and they got nice detail to them. I like it. Also, the fact that they kind of got like goggles and mustache and everything, and then you're going to end up having your ultimate ability is so cool. I love it, where it's actually a little dude on top controlling the big suit, you know, and it's kind of all like drills and hammers and everything like that. So it definitely follows the theme very well. Of course, our classroom ability doesn't end up changing because nobody ever bothers doing that, which I guess makes sense because I don't think that the game wants you to do anything like that. But either way, it's still a very cool costume just because everything about it is in theme. You know, like that's what I really like about it, is just the fact that your babies are going to end up being as cool as they are. And then the big guy just... The fact that it's a little dude controlling it, you know, I don't even know how they went the extra detail and made it so that his hands animate. Maybe that's under the jaw of the character or something. I'm not sure. If he would stop moving around like an idiot so that I could actually, maybe if we do dance. Yeah, there. Well, that didn't really work. Well, in either case though, folks, that's all the new costumes that are going to be coming out with the Trove Geode update. Again, their crafting components are not going to end up being crystals, or one crystal each, I should say. Maybe it'll end up being crystals, but not necessarily one each. Time will tell. We'll just have to wait and see when it ends up going onto the live server. June 26th, but we definitely have a lot of really great costumes. There's this one, the Neon Ninja one is a great one, and then also I personally think that the Candy Barb costume might be one of my favorite out of it all, just because I love the fact that it feels like truly powerful, you know? And the Candy Barb doesn't really have that many costumes that do it. Candy Barb is actually one of my favorite characters, honestly speaking, even though I've never actually bothered maining him. I still think that he's a very cool character overall, especially with his abilities. And oh, I guess I should have showed you guys what the ult looks like with this guy. Your spin attack and everything like that, nothing's really going to end up being too different or too fancy. Let me get a chronomatic right here, even though I might be able to just cast my ult before I can even cast a pot. Yup. But our ult is going to end up just being a big axe, and then it gets thrown onto the ground, and all the crumbs end up being something unique. And then, you know, kind of all the video effects that go around our character as well is going to end up being different and cool. So anyways, thanks for watching. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content. And if you want to check out, or actually if you want to support me, I mean, you can always sponsor my YouTube channel or check links in the description for my merch store, as well as Gawkbox, which is a way you can donate to me for free. Sign on and stay epic, everybody.